This video is going to be all about SwipeView, a new control, well, newish in Xamarin.Forms that will allow you to basically swipe any element on screen. We're going to see how to swipe a label and how to swipe items in a collection view. So diving right in, we are here in a file new Xamarin.Forms application with the template that you get out of the box. I'm showing you everything on a Mac with the iOS simulator, but SwipeView is, in Xamarin.Forms, so it works on Android, iOS, maybe UWP, I'm not entirely sure. But at least on these platforms, and of course you can also do this with Visual Studio on Windows. So first let's get that title updated, and we're going to say SwipeView sample. Here we go. Let's save that, and you can see hot reload in action. With hot reload you can just update the UI while you're running, so that is really cool. And now let's just keep for normally I take out all the labels here. Let's just stick with these and wrap them into a swipe view. So swipe view is something that is available in Xamarin.Forms, some late 4 version, but if you're using Xamarin.Forms 5, then it's definitely in there. And with SwipeView, you can basically swipe anything, so that is really cool. So if I wrap this label into a SwipeView, you can see here that IntelliSense will tell me this SwipeView right here, and now suddenly this label is swipeable. Let's save this. I don't know if this works. No, it doesn't do anything yet. So without any configuration, this is not going to work. But now if we, actually let's start at the swipe view at the root here. So we have a couple of things here that we will see. And one of the things is that it has a couple of events. So the swipe is changing, the swipe is ended, the swipe is started. This is for all the swipe items that I'm going to implement here in a little bit. And these are events that you can leverage to, detect whenever something is happening. Maybe you want to execute some logic then. That is what you can do with these events right here. We also have a threshold, and the threshold is, whenever something is swiped for, what is going to be the threshold for your swipe items, basically. So I'm not going to use any of these. Check out the documentation. I'll put the link in the video description. But these are a couple of the properties and the events that you can use on that top swipe view level. But let's look at the thing that actually is important here, and we're going to say swipe view dot, and the IntelliSense is not really helping you here. But you have bottom items, you have left items, you have right items, and you have top items. So what this will tell you is that you can swipe all the directions, well, not diagonal. That might be a nice, very tricky feature. But you can swipe all the directions, basically, top, bottom, all the things. But typically it will be left and right, probably. So let's just stick with your typical scenario. Let's do the right items. And inside of that, you can then say swipe item. Here we go. And you can start configuring your item. So we can say now our text is ta-da, and the background color is red. So we're going to see something interesting now. Whenever I save this, it looks as it did before, but now suddenly I can swipe this label. Oh, the other way. There we go. And you can see ta-da. You can see it gives a little weird thing. Oh, actually you don't see it because it's if I change this to be left items, here we go. You can see it better. Make that left items. You can see this text overlaps, right? That's because by default the label has a transparent background, so that's why this is looking a little bit funny, which has an easy fix. Just give your label a background. Whoops, color is white. There we go. Save that, and boom, suddenly it looks a lot nicer. And here you can see, let's keep it at the left. You can see that you can just swipe it, and then your action is revealing. So that is pretty cool, right? You can click it, and then it closes down again. That's all behavior that we can customize too. So by default, actually, we are missing one level here because inside of your left items, right items, etc., you can have swipe items. Here we go. So that is kind of like, whenever you're not specifying it, it will put it in that swipe items thing automatically. But actually, if you do implement this, then you get a lot of extra properties that you can use, like the behavior. the swipe behavior on invoked. So what is going to happen here is that I clicked on it, and the auto is the default option, so then it will close. And you can say like, hey, I want it to actually close, or I want it to remain open. So if I set it to remain open and I save that and I do the same thing again and I click it, it remains open, but it's still fired in the background, right? We'll implement that event in a little bit. So that is kind of like how you can change that behavior. Now, another thing you can do is set the mode, which is execute or reveal. So reveal is like the normal, the default here, and that just reveals the buttons. But you can also do execute. So that basically, you've probably seen it sometimes, that you can swipe it all away and then it will automatically execute the action that is attached to this item. So you can just swipe it all away and then it will actually execute it. Actually, let's just start implementing some event here, so that it makes it really clear. So what you have the clicked one here, which you can definitely just use if you want to, have it only tapped. But if you want to have the different modes with execute and actually tap it on it, then the thing that you're after is invoked right here. Or of course, it has a command that will otherwise be triggered if you were like more in the MVVM kind of scenarios. But here for the invoked, let's put this event in here, and if we then go back to our code behind, here we go, we have our event handler, and what you can say here is display alert, always a favorite. And what's this? This is the title, right? Title swipe invoked. Okay. There we go, let's save that. Now that's not here hot reloaded, so I have to start our sample app for a little bit here. Should be really quickly, and whenever we do, I think I set the mode still to execute. So if I then just start swiping this thing, then it should execute. Here we go, so I just swiped it, I didn't do anything else, and it will invoke like that. And that's also the default, so whenever I do this and I save it again, then it just reveals it, and I really have to click it to invoke it, and then you can see that behavior in action, it closes automatically, and then I can influence that by keeping it open if that's something that you want. So lots of possibility and flexibility here, so that is really, really cool. So we've already seen the swipe item. You can set a background color, we can set the invoked, we can also set an icon image source, so you can also set an icon on this, which is of course also really cool. If you have ever used the list view with the context actions, they were kind of limited. You would only have limited options, but with this you can change the actual icons and do all the things, so that is really amazing. And the other thing, well, let's just actually add another one to see, also how it works with multiple ones. So maybe you want to subscribe to a certain YouTube channel. Let's make this yellow. I'm not good with the styling here, but you can see you suddenly now have two. So you want to, don't want to put a lot of options in here because the space is limited. But the cool thing is you can also combine things, of course. So we can have the left items right here, but we can also have the right items together with that. And it's interesting, I didn't save it yet, so now I can't swipe to the right, but I can swipe to this side, right? So, but whenever I start using the right items here, then let's do blue and green, so you can see the difference. And subscribe now, please. There we go, save it, and here we have, ta-da, sub, please now. See, so you can swipe left and right now. Suddenly that's enabled. I could do top and bottom as well, but that would probably be a little bit messy. So that is pretty cool what you can do with this. Now, another thing that you can do, if we give this an X name, here we go, SwipeView. We also have the options to programmatically SwipeView dot open, so you can specify a certain item that you want to open, so you can open it programmatically. And of course the same thing is that you want to close it. So if you have scenarios where you need to programmatically close or open a certain item, then you can definitely do that with these methods as well. So that is another thing that provides you so much flexibility, so that is really cool. Now there's two things I still want to show you. The first is that you also have on the swipe view, you have the IsEnabled. So we can say is enabled, and whenever we set this to false, then all of our swipe action goes away. So it's just a regular label again. So whenever you have some kind of condition where you do want to swipe and others you don't want to swipe, then you can easily toggle this from your code, and that's really cool. But I think the last thing is maybe even the most interesting, because that is a very typical scenario. So I'm going to remove actually the other labels, and I'm going to enter here a collection view, because I mentioned the list view before, and this is something that you would typically use in a collection view where you have multiple items, and the swipe actions are context actions of each item, right? You want to delete one or favorite one or do whatever. So we're going to have a little collection view, and I'm going to whip up a little item source. Here I'm going to go into some binding things. You might want to check out other videos on this channel. I'll put one somewhere that's popping up in your screen right now that's relevant, where you can see more about data binding or using the collection view like this. So my items, here we go, and then inside of that collection view we want to have an item template. Here we go. And inside of that, you need a data template. And inside of that, I'm just going to again I'm just going to copy this label. Here we go. And whoops. And I'm going to make the text not start developing now, but I'm going to say binding dot. So that shows the actual item that we're going to use. So for each item, we're going to use this template, and the text is going to be the actual text in one of the items of my collection here. And then collection view. Oh, so actually I'm not going to just use this label, but I'm going to, of course, also wrap this swipe view around it, because that's the thing that we wanted to do. I'm going to press Ctrl I here so that it all formats nicely, and let's just keep only the right items. Here we go, and format that nicely again. There we go. And then I have to reapply this one with binding dot. Okay, and I think so you're not seeing it. Actually, let's do this too with swipe me. There we go. And then I have to create my items thing. So let's stop this here for a little bit, go to our code behind, and then I'm going to say public. It can be just a list of string. Here we go, my items get set. Don't forget to make this a property, because that is what you need for data binding. And this is going to be a new list of string. Here we go, and I'm just going to initialize it like this. So it's going to be, hi there, please, whoops, make it a string, please subscribe. I'm not sure if you're getting my very subtle hints here to my channel. If you haven't done so, or you can also read, please click that like button or leave a comment, because I love to hear from you and interact with you. Subscribe to my channel. There we go. And whenever I do this, I need to still set the binding context so that it actually knows where to look for. My items property is this. Here we go, and I can actually start running it again. And now what we have is a list, hopefully, where we have multiple items, and each of these items is swipeable. See, here we go. So now you can swipe this one and this one and this one, and I think you can even, you can probably refine the behavior that all the others close whenever you do this. And then now for each one, of course, you want to wire up the command to actually fire the right command for your item. So yeah, that's how you apply this to a collection view, which is not different than applying it to any other element. So you can have some more complex layout, of course, than just a label. We can also wrap this into a stack layout if that's what you want. Stack layout doesn't really do anything in this regard, but whenever we save that, you can see it just swipes the whole stack layout too. So you can have these complex layouts and it will just swipe the way you would expect it to do. So that's how we can apply this swipe view. There's going to be questions, I'm sure, on how to wire up that command for any of these items. I'm going to link a playlist right now in the corner of your screen that will have all kinds of videos on the binding scope. That's the one that you're probably looking for. That will explain how that data binding thing work within a collection view or list view. So that's probably something that you want to check out. I think I covered most of the things in SwipeView, not in detail. There is still some things left for you to discover on your own, but I've shown you all the things that are at least available in there. So let me know if there's something that you want to see in more detail. Please let me know in the comments. If you're new to this channel, hey, thank you for watching. It's very welcome, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click that notification button so you will be notified immediately of new content. Like this video, do all the things basically that you are expected to do when watching a YouTube channel, because everyone is asking you to do this. And I'll be seeing you for my next video. Keep coding.